Once upon a time, many years ago, there was a tiny village, hidden, nestled deep within the forest, a village called Timeless. Inside the village lived several gnomes who cared for the forest, tending to the beautiful flowers, moss, and all of the other plants that grew along the forest floor. The trees were homes to the gnomes and protected them from creatures of the forest that would prey upon them. One day, a family who lived at the edge of the village in an old oak tree, the Squiggles, woke up to find a giant mushroom had grown overnight next to the front door of their home. Popper Squiggles rushed down to investigate, but coming short of any conclusion, called the village to their aid. The villagers crowded around the giant mushroom, wondering what could have caused such quick growth when out of nowhere a giant goblin appeared.
"You may call me king. I have come to take over this village, and you will do as I say,"
announced the evil goblin. The villagers looked on in fear. They had never seen an evil goblin king before and knew not what to do. All at once, the gnome villagers scrambled back to their homes and locked their doors, only daring to peek out the window in fear. As the days, weeks, and months passed, the evil goblin king forced the gnomes to do all sorts of hard work, like collecting gems from the forest and mining gold, while he took all of the glory and riches. The evil king even wielded his staff, using the magic of an entire galaxy to keep the gnomes in line. One day, a brave villager named Scruffle decided enough was enough. She gathered the villagers together and devised a plan to hold a fair and change the evil king's mind. She thought, if he could just see how happy they used to live, he may change his ways. The villagers agreed and began to plan. A week later, everything was set. Scruffle went to the evil goblin king. "Yeah, we having a pot, you want to come?" The goblin king was speechless for a moment, as literally no one in the village had ever spoken a word to him. The goblin king looked all around, suspicious of treachery. Satisfied that nothing was afoot, he replied,
"Yeah, all right then."
Scruffle led the way to the gnomes' fair. As they approached, music and laughter filled the air. Warm fairy lights lit up the evening sky, and the scent of sweet pastry and spiced wine filled their noses. Smiles were worn by every dancing couple and mischievous child. Every elder to every baby, joy and warmth and light radiated from the square. As Scruffle entered the square, she was greeted with cheers and well wishes, which instantly stopped when they spotted who was behind her. The square grew cold. The music stopped. Children hid behind their parents as the Goblin King crept out of Scruffle's shadow. The Goblin King looked around at the frightened gnomes and raised his staff and his arms in the air.
"I have an announcement."
The wind whistled, and no one moved an inch.
"I have treated you cruelly, and yet you have still extended a hand of kindness towards me. You have treated me with warmth when I have shown only cold. For that I will forever be thankful. I have seen that your hearts are pure and kind, and I no longer wish to be your king."
The crowd began to murmur. Children began to peek.
"I wish to be a villager as you are. Work with you, laugh with you, love with you."
The Goblin King lowered his staff and removed his crown, handing both to a bewildered Mother Squiggles. The former Goblin King held out his hand to Scruffle.
"May I have this dance?"
Scruffle stared at the Goblin King and then let out a whoop. She grabbed his hand and ran to the dance floor with the goblin. The band again began to play. Cheers and whistles accompanied the band, and now the rest of the village rushed to the floor to join their jolly jaunt. The villagers later learned the Goblin King's name was Falkor, and he had been abandoned by his family. However, never more would he be alone, for he found a new home with Scruffle and the other gnomes in a village called Timeless.